where people are going wrong from a health and wellness perspective is it almost seems like they're making nutrition their god, where they're so singularly focused on their biohacking practices and the food that they're eating, et cetera. Where a lot of what we talk about with Meat Mafia and even with Noble is like, just figure out what you should be eating and what you should be doing to feel amazing and have great energy so you actually can go out into the world and do amazing things with your life.
Welcome to the EMPWR Podcast, where wellness meets real life and empowerment becomes your way of being. I'm your host, Sam. Okay, guys, today's episode is a heavy hitter. We are joined by Brett and Harry, the dynamic duo behind the Meat Mafia Podcast, two guys flipping the modern nutrition script and helping people reclaim their health with real, no-nonsense strategies. We dig into what it actually means to eat for optimal health, covering everything from carnivore versus animal-based diets, raw milk and seed oils, to stress-free meal prep, quality protein, and the non-negotiables of wellness. Brett and Harry share their own transformations, how they took control of their health, and how you can too in a simple way. If you're tired of the confusion around what to eat, how to feel better, and how to stay consistent, this episode is your blueprint. Let's cut the noise, get back to the basics, and take ownership of our health. Brett, Harry, welcome.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited to sit down with you guys today. For me, like as a nutritionist, I think it's really cool to bring people on that have different ideas and perspectives, and what you guys have built and your stories behind it is so cool. So first, I just want to take some time to dive into your stories, because I feel like it obviously led you both to where you're at now and what you're doing and what you preach on. So can you give us a little bit of insight behind Meat Mafia and where your story started?
For the listener that does know about us, I'm Brett, and then I'm joined with Harry. We're business partners, best friends. We've known each other for about 10 years, and our two businesses are the Meat Mafia Podcast, which is our media company, which is really focused on just improving the way America eats and just thinks about health. Mm-hmm. And obviously, animal protein is a huge part of what we've talked about for the better part of 3 years. And then we also have a supplement company called Noble Protein, which is a grass-finished beef-based protein powder. So instead of whey or plant-based source, there's actually a way to take beef protein and turn it into a really delicious, bioavailable supplement. So that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. And Harry and I, really, we played college baseball together. And for me personally, I just justified everything I was doing from a health perspective under the lens of, I'm playing baseball at a high level, therefore I must be healthy. Mm-hmm. So because I'm lifting weights and training hard and drinking, pre-workout and stuff like that.
Look a certain way.
Exactly.
Right.
Like I had no concept of, tracking calories or micronutrients or stress or things like that. And everything really just came to a head for me in college because, I was living the classic collegiate lifestyle of like binge drinking on the weekends, eating a lot of processed food. I was really just stressed out playing baseball. I used to, just love playing and having fun with it. And in college, I just felt a lot of pressure to perform. And I think I also have some family history of autoimmune issues. And then going into my senior year of college, I just got really sick. My gut basically just imploded with inflammation. And I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disease that really just affects your colon, where you just have so much stress, so much inflammation. You just get these ulcers that metastasize all over your gut and your insides. And so you immediately get diagnosed with that disease, and your doctors tell you that you're going to be on drugs and meds for the rest of your life. So that's basically the diagnosis that you're predestined to. And I remember my doctor telling me that it wasn't anything that I did wrong. I just got the bad stroke of a genetic lottery, and that I was just going to have to be on these drugs. And the best that I could do is manage it and temporarily put it into remission, but I would never be cured of the disease ultimately. And that's just what I thought my life was going to be. And so I go back for my senior year of school, and I will say that I think the drugs really helped when I was super sick. And I think they can help a lot of people that are incredibly inflamed and kind of past that point of no return. But everything changed for me when I was about 25 years old. And this is about 2019, right before COVID. And that's when the carnivore diet started getting more popularized. Mm-hmm. These crazy people that were on social media and posting on Reddit and YouTube, essentially following this all meat removal diet. And they were saying that people that were struggling with autoimmune diseases like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, they were following this diet and curing something that was supposed to be incurable, right? And I remember thinking to myself, well, if these other people can do that, why would I not try it for 2 weeks? if there's any chance of me not having to get infusions and spend all this money to just try and stay in remission, if diet and lifestyle could cure it, why would I not try it? And so I did it I remember trying it for the first couple days, immediately felt drastically better. My stomach just calmed down. My energy levels felt great. My skin got better. I was just like kind of popping out of bed with great vigor and drive, and my mental clarity was amazing. And once you develop that intuition of feeling great, once you realize like, oh, wow, the foods that I'm eating are positively impacting the way that I'm feeling, and you develop that intuition, you just want to go all in. There's no going back. And that's kind of the personality that I have too. And so I followed a fairly strict carnivore diet for about 2 years, and actually ended up getting off all the drugs and medications that I was on.
How quickly into that diet did you have to go off the drugs, or were you able to?
It took me about 2 years. And I get a lot of DMs about that, people that are on biologic medication that
right,
are,
like big time injections.
Yes. And I think mine was $50K an injection, covered by insurance, thank God. But if you don't have good insurance, you're going to be crippled for life. And so there's a lot of people that don't want to be on these drugs for the rest of their lives. And what I've noticed is that I don't think your doctor is ever going to push you to get off the drugs. But I think if you have the mindset of, hey, I'm actually the CEO of my own health, I understand my intuition, I understand my blood work, and you push him or her, there is a chance that you're actually able to get off of it. So I was the one that proactively went to him and said, look, I feel amazing. This diet is working for me. I'm very disciplined with it. I'd love to explore getting off of this. And his response was, you should have a colonoscopy. Let's make sure that your inflammatory markers actually look good. Mm-hmm. And then once he actually saw, wow, he has no inflammation, no microinflammation.
It was all gone.
It was literally completely gone. So they would never tell me that I'm medically cured. But in my mind, I'm like, well, there's no ulcers here. I haven't, had a major flare up since I've gone off the medication. And then I've just never really looked back.
Is anybody else in your family trying this same diet and lifestyle that you have kind of cured on your own?
No one in my immediate family has gone carnivore.
Okay.
But one of the things that we were talking about before we recorded was just like our collective excitement around RFK and the Maha movement.
Yes.
And I've noticed with my mom, a lot of the work that Harry and I have done, plus this whole movement, she's thrown the vegetable oils out. She's cooking with olive oil and buying beef tallow and prioritizing grass-finished meat. And your parents are the hardest people to try and get, especially when as a child, you're like, I just wish that you guys understood this because you would feel so much better. They're stubborn. They're resistant,
Absolutely.
But they're starting to make changes. So they're not full carnivore, but I've been starting to see things like around the pantry and stuff where I'm optimistic. And it's like those small marginal gains over time.
So I was in the pharmaceutical industry for 10 plus years. I was in sales, pushing biologics, injections, and my holistic journey started about a few years before I switched careers. But I really started seeing that there was an unmet need when it came to a diet and lifestyle approach before the pharmaceuticals. I am so thankful for pharmaceuticals. I think there is a place for it, but I think that we too quickly reach for them.
Definitely.
Which, the story you just shared about your own health journey, like that's just a testament to showing what you said, being the own CEO of your body and like taking initiative, like what that can do for you. I think that a lot of the times when these providers and doctors are saying no medication first, it's maybe because they don't feel like the actual patient will take initiative and be their own CEO. And I think that really is because there is such a lack of education. So I think that with this social media movement of like more awareness and education, RFK, like all of these things coming about, I really am hoping and I feel optimistic there will be more people wanting to become more proactive in that sense.
It's scary to say, hey, my doctor is telling me this, and I'm actually going to veer off the path of what he or she is telling me. But I just remember thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm doing what they're telling me. I don't feel as good as I think I should feel. So if I keep following what he's telling me, I don't think I'm going to get to where I want to get to. So I probably need to look at some alternative measures. And I remember going to Whole Foods in the Upper East Side of Manhattan because that's where I lived. And I remember buying a pound of a ribeye and looking at it and thinking to myself, like before I cooked it, I'm like, am I going to die like eating 2 pounds of meat a day? Because that's how manipulated I was around nutrition.
Like cholesterol,
yes,
all the things with high meat, saturated fat, like all the things.
Meanwhile, in college, I'm eating hot Cheetos and drinking 10 beers every Friday and Saturday. And I think, grass-finished meat is going to kill me. We're just fed the wrong things. And what Harry and I spent a lot of time talking about is just intuition, like versus like whether you're following a vegan diet or a carnivore diet or a keto diet or you're getting blood work done, like are you, the things that you're doing, do you actually feel good or not? Like, are you actually taking domain over your own body? Because if you're doing this approach and you don't feel good, why are you continuing to go down that rabbit hole?
I feel like there's a really big pushback against kind of like the online just like health space right now, where it's like, I don't want to optimize it like as much. I really want to just be healthy and not always be neurotic about like my health goals and things. Like I just want to focus on the 80-20 of what's going to work and what's not.
Tell us about your journey, Harry.
Yeah. So I, similar to Brett, had like that same mindset, when I was in middle school, high school, just, I got introduced to the gym and working out through sports and was really focused on the training side of things, had some incredible mentors who taught me like what to do in the gym, how to train, how to prepare for baseball. And these guys were like ordering eggs from the Amish in Pennsylvania, going and picking up raw milk. And I didn't partake, but I was like, these guys are like crushing it, physical specimens. I'm going to keep eating the way I'm going to eat, but I'm going to trust their judgment in the gym. So really like through that, really developed a love for training and carried that with me. But my diet led me to have like in high school, cystic acne, got on Accutane. And then looking back, like realized once I got to college that I had this love for training, was playing baseball. And then I started to dial in my diet and saw so much like just in terms of just those benefits of like better energy, saw my training improve massively. So I'm like, there's so much here that I missed. And I wish I had just been focusing on this when I was struggling with, whatever the root cause issue was for having that acne at the time. It's like, to me, looking back, I'm like, it was entirely diet related. I think back about it and I'm like, my mom was so good about putting food on the table that was healthy with like 100% best intention. But then when I would go to school, I was eating like the garbage. I was like having nachos, having subs and chips and all that. I'm like, well, that was the problem. I was eating that every single day. And so, that kind of just spurred this curiosity around nutrition and got into my corporate job. Within like, I was working for 5 years at a company up in Boston and really just like slowly just started seeing my health like take this little bit of a slide where it wasn't major, but I'm just like, all right, I'm kind of just like really developing it as like corporate, like non-athlete role. Like it feels like very foreign to me, having been an athlete my whole life. I'm sitting more, I'm inside more. My lifestyle has just totally switched. I'm eating more processed food and like quickly saw myself being like, man, I'm not really like happy with just like where my health is at right now. It wasn't anything extreme, wasn't like extremely obese or overweight, didn't have any crazy problems. COVID hit and I was like, all right, I need to make a change. And so I started eating an animal-based diet, carnivore diet, just like through that elimination process, like within 4 weeks, just realized that I was like, what was I doing?
I just got the chills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it COVID that kind of like changed the game for you guys? Like y'all were able to have more time to just be more intentional or?
For me, yeah. Cause I was commuting an hour each way. And so we were just like in lockdown. I get 2 hours back in my day, start sleeping a little, like sleeping more intentionally, better. And then cooking all my meals, sourcing, like I was sourcing from a place up there called Walden Local, which they source from local farms. They give you some recipes.
Amazing.
I was just like, I'm not going to let this be the moment where I like, go on Zoom and drink with my buddies. Like I'm going to get my health in order because I feel like this is just kind of that blessing of a moment in time to like, focus on myself. So I honestly just took like the most simple approach I could. I walked a bunch. I ate better. I got in incredible shape, felt amazing. And so once I kind of hit that gold mine, I was like, this is kind of like the path I'm going down. I need to figure out a way to lean into this more, figure out how to get into this space. And I'd always had, from the training days, always had an interest in nutrition, always had an interest in training. So there was clearly like this underlying, health and wellness theme. Like early on in my life, I just hadn't really connected the dots or thought much of getting into that space. So that led us down to Austin. We were running an Ironman together.
How do you guys think that the carnivore animal-based diet helped you when it came to the training for the Ironman?
It was almost more of a mental and spiritual shift, to be honest with you. Like I think what Harry's alluding to in particular Like I think where people are going wrong from a health and wellness perspective is it almost seems like they're making nutrition their god, where they're so singularly focused on their biohacking practices and the food that they're eating, et cetera. Where what a lot of what we talk about with Meat Mafia and even with Noble is like, just figure out what you should be eating and what you should be doing to feel amazing and have great energy so you actually can go out into the world and do amazing things with your life.
Love that as a tool.
Yes, but I do think a lot of the meat, like the amount of animal protein we were eating helped massively with recovery. Like I remember training because the hardest part about the Ironman is not the race itself. It's just these crazy long training blocks where you're like, all right, so I'm going to do brick workouts all week. And then Saturday, I'm going to go ride my bike for like 6 or 7 hours. And then Sunday, I'm going to go ride it for another 2 hours and then do a brick workout. I remember the weekends where I would eat steak or like good quality fish or chicken versus the days that I would just do like a protein shake or have like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something like that because I'm just trying to bang calories afterwards. It would be night and day different. And then I actually just crewed my buddy Matt Johnson this past fall. He did a run across Texas where he raced 850 miles across Texas. His recovery meal was grass-finished ground beef and rice every single day. He only did not have that meal once because Chick-fil-A donated a bunch of chicken sandwiches.
Of course, yeah.
Then the next day, he was an absolute mess and in shambles.
Wow.
And then he went right back to the meal and was great. So it's kind of cool. We're like, Harry and I had done our own tinkering and experimentation with the endurance stuff. And then seeing Matt do that, I'm like, it's just concrete proof of like, this stuff is very simple and it's simple for a reason because it actually works. It doesn't need to be complicated.
But I think to your point, like you said, you kind of shifted your mindset, looking at food differently, fueling differently. And then you were able to think better of like career wise, like all these other things in your life that kind of like fall into place because you don't have that inflammation, you can feel better and think better.
Everyone's used to like, some level of energy and output. And I think people who are performing well, like they're always pushing that upper end. Like they're like, how can I continue to get this extra alpha and margin out of my body, out of my mind, out of my spirit? Because I believe that, I can treat my body better. I feel like when you're not really thinking about taking care of yourself, you just fall into that like, I don't know if there's any, better feelings. I'm kind of good with the way I am. And I think taking that like experimenter's mindset of I'm going to just go experiment with my diet. I'm going to go experiment with a new workout routine. I'm going to go experiment with a workout class and just try to like build a little momentum. If you're stuck and looking for some level of transformation, you do need to make big shifts in these areas that can create that energy and momentum to like build that next step.
Can you explain to some of the listeners that maybe are listening and like, I have no idea what the difference is between like carnivore, animal-based? Is it the same thing? Like, how do you classify that?
Anything like ketogenic, right, is you're eliminating all carbohydrates and you're using fat as your source of fuel. So like animal proteins and things like that will ultimately serve as your source of fuel. And so carnivore is the most strict version of that, where you're only eating animal-based products. It's primarily red meat because carnivores believe that red meat tends to be the most nutrient dense and the most bioavailable meat that's available. But it's red meat, chicken, fish, eggs. You're cooking in beef tallow, you're cutting out fruits, you're cutting out vegetables, you're cutting out all starchy carbohydrates and sugars, and you're just focusing on those like really bioavailable animal-based products. And then the animal-based diet, which Dr. Paul Saladino has really popularized, is all of those animal-based products. And then you're throwing in sugar, like fruits into that
vegetables?
As well. No
fruits, honey.
So with carnivore and animal-based, no vegetables.
No vegetables.
Okay.
Like a lot of people just assume that Harry and I are carnivore, especially me, just because I had this drastic healing journey. And I'm not, honestly. I think it's an unbelievable tool. And I think if you're incredibly sick and have autoimmune issues, cutting out anything that might be triggering that inflammation is fantastic.
So it doesn't have to be something you do forever. Like it could be like a tool that you do for a few months to maybe just see. So my brother, he has psoriasis all over his body. And what's crazy is he got it later in life, but it definitely is genetic. My uncle has it too. My mom, he went full carnivore and it cleared up immediately. So like I've seen that firsthand. And I mean, it was truly amazing. And at the time I was in the pharmaceutical industry selling a psoriasis pill. So I was like, okay, how do I go in here and sell this pill when I just see like this amazing miracle and tool of going full carnivore, like what that could do from an inflammation standpoint? If you're animal-based, carnivore, whatever, tell us and talk to us about the difference of the quality that you're choosing and in your own journey. Were you guys always choosing like the raw milk and like local farms to get your meat and eggs from? Or did you guys just go to the grocery store and get, regular, the cheapest eggs or the cheapest meat?
There's grass-fed beef, grass-fed, grass-finished, and then there's grass-fed, grain-finished. And I think like looking at it on a spectrum, like, yes, grass-fed, grass-finished is lower inflammation. I think that's like been proven out. But I think if you're looking to make like incremental steps, like just starting to eat more red meat, protein dominant meals is going to be good for you. So
and not worrying too much about like the specifics of what it is, where it comes from.
And this stuff's an evolution. And like I would say for episode 1 of the podcast to episode 400 plus now, I think we've calmed down a lot, where we just want to focus on like getting you in the game. If you're someone that's on the sidelines and you want to make those changes. And a phrase that we use all the time that our friends Ann and Weldon, they have this ranch in West Texas called Holy Cow Beef. So they're a grass finished beef ranch. It's the good, better, best model, where good is just all red meat in general. Even if it's just like the cheap meat from the outer aisle of the grocery store, it's still better than like the hot Cheetos and the processed food in the inner aisle. Better is like grass finished meat from a grocery store. And then best is grass finished meat from a local rancher, someone that's maybe like, 5 to 20 minutes away from you that you have a direct relationship with. You shake their hand, you're on a first name basis, and then you're kind of supporting the local economy. They have regenerative practices. But a lot of that stuff is a progression. I think the issue with a lot of health and wellness content out there is that you have these influencers that are trying to go viral, and they're telling you that if it's not grass finished and regenerative from day one, like it's terrible for you, which is so crazy.
Why do you think that is?
I think that fear porn honestly sells, and the more that they can be polarizing and be a little bit clickbaity, it's probably going to help them.
Yeah, that makes
help them
sense.
with the virality. That's just my personal opinion, to be honest with you. And I don't mean that in a jaded way. And like Harry was mentioning, there are a lot of benefits to eating grass finished meat over the grain fed stuff, the cheaper stuff at the outer aisle of the grocery store. But I'm telling you, like firsthand, when I healed my stomach, I was 24 years old. I didn't have a huge budget for food. That's what I was eating. And I was learning how to cook in an air fryer. Yeah. And then over time, it's like, all right, 2 years down the road, I'm finding local farms to buy from.
You get to that point later, but you don't have to start there. I think
it's a progression. It's a progression. It's like just start by like prioritizing, 2 pounds of protein a day if you're a man, some fruits, some vegetables, and like just cook your own meals, take intuition, and then just let it evolve over time and see where you end up.
With the social media and all of these fear-mongering things, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. It's so intense, when it's like, we can make it simple. And I love that you have that approach. Today's episode is brought to you by Dream Recovery, the ultimate brand for optimizing your rest and recovery. As someone who is about creating a healthy balance in all areas of their health, I know how much good sleep transforms your performance in your everyday life, and Dream Recovery takes it to the next level. Dream Recovery's innovative products are designed to help you wake up feeling like your best self, whether it's their Dream Strips, which I personally use every night, that help you breathe better and sleep deeper, or their Dream Tape Plus, infused with anti-aging skincare to promote nasal breathing and glowing skin. This brand is all about helping you feel refreshed, restored, and ready to conquer the day. I personally thought mouth tape was just a trend, but decided to try it out anyways, and I kid you not, you guys, after a few nights of using it, I noticed my sleep improved and my energy increased. I really could see the difference on my Garmin watch and saw my REM and deep sleep cycles lengthen, which was wild to me. Bonus, if your partner snores, slap some mouth tape on them, because Ian even stopped snoring. I love that Dream Recovery's mission is rooted in the idea of awakening our full potential, because when we sleep better, we do better. So whether you're an athlete, a busy parent, or just someone trying to prioritize wellness, Dream Recovery has the tools you need to level up your recovery game. Visit dreamrecovery.io and use the code SAM15 at checkout. Hey guys, okay, quick break because I'm so excited to share a product that's become a go-to of my evening wind down routine, Bon Charge. That's spelled in all caps and pronounced Bon Charge. They're a holistic wellness brand with a huge range of evidence-based products to help you sleep better, recover faster, boost energy, reduce inflammation, and support your body in a really natural, impactful way. From red light therapy to EMF protection and circadian friendly lighting, Bon Charge blends science with nature, and it shows. The product I've been using pretty much every evening is their red light face mask. You guys know I'm really into recovery, rest, and protecting my circadian rhythm this season, and I've been more intentional than ever about how I end my days and keeping my evenings as tech-free as possible, prioritizing deep sleep and supporting my skin from the inside out. And I've always loved red light therapy, but I was on the hunt for a face mask that met my standards. And if you know me, you know I research pretty much everything. The Boncharge red light face mask checked every single box. I use it for 10 to 20 minutes in the evening, cleaning up after dinner, tidying downstairs, or just after I get the kids settled for bed. It's super lightweight, does not get hot, and it combines both red and near infrared light to support collagen production, reduce inflammation, and boost overall skin health. And what makes this one different from others? Well, Boncharge is the only brand that actually removed the blue and green light, which can mess with your melatonin production and throw off your sleep. Their mask has zero EMF radiation, zero flicker, and it's sleek and comfortable to wear. Plus, it comes with a 1-year warranty, which I always appreciate. Since I started using it, my skin has felt brighter and more awake in the mornings, and it's honestly helped me slow down and prioritize real rest. It's become a favorite part of my evening routine as something that feels both indulgent and effective. Boncharge ships worldwide, and they're trusted by leading health professionals, and all of their products are HSA, FSA eligible, so you can use tax-free dollars to save even more. Here's how to try it. Head to boncharge.com and use my code SAMCFIT15 to save 15% off your order. That's boncharge.com, and the code is SAMCFIT15 for 15% off. One more time, boncharge.com, code SAMCFIT15. Trust me, you guys will love this addition to your wellness routine.
One thing I was going to add to, just like on the grass-fed versus grain-fed thing, is I think if you're eating grain-fed meat, just go for the leaner cuts, because a lot of the toxins in animals is stored in the fat. Yes. Same with us. So if you can just get a 93.7, from any grocery store that's, decent quality.
93.7. Okay. That's the one I normally go to.
Yeah. Less fat.
And then you can drain it in the strainer afterwards too.
What about eggs? Like, what's the appropriate or the right type of eggs to buy?
Man, chickens are tough. I feel like we've written about this early on a bunch, just around like what's happened to chickens genetically. Like basically we went from having all these different heritage breeds in the early 1900s, and now we really only breed one type of chicken, and they're bred so much that it's like most people are eating the same egg from the same type of chicken. So I think eggs are one where you really want to know where you're getting it from. Okay. So pastured birds who have been on the pasture their entire life, and have just like had free range to roam, I think is huge.
So when I go to the grocery store, I get organic, pasture raised, like free range, all the thing eggs. Is that like the best type to get?
Yeah.
Versus if obviously like going to an Amish farm and getting it right off would be the best. Yeah. But like if you are in the grocery store, is that the type you should get?
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think the thing
pasture raised.
The toughest thing with the grocery store, it's really like you read like these labels and it's still tough to verify every question you have. You're like, all right, it's pasture raised and it's like vegetarian fed, but like, are you guys still using corn and soy in the feed?
Right. Cause they don't put that on the actual package.
Yes. Yeah. But still like being like what you're buying is still fantastic. And maybe you could take it a step further down the road where you actually find somewhere local in Nashville.
And I do. We do have a farmer's market and we go there every once in a while, and I'll get like the raw milk and from the Amish and eggs, and like, it's crazy what I notice more than anything. You can tell like when you crack the egg open, like how much more vibrant the color is, just because there's so much more like nutrients and minerals in there versus like, cheaper eggs at the grocery store.
Yeah, raw milk is an interesting one. How have you felt starting to drink it?
I started incorporating raw milk last year. And I remember when I first opened it, I was like, I feel like I am drinking like straight up cream. Like this is so thick, like milk mustache to the most. And it was very delicious. And I didn't have any kind of like sensitivity, which is really cool. So it's one of those things where I haven't noticed like an immediate difference in how I feel, but I think like long-term, just from like the nutrients I'm getting, it's better.
With it not being pasteurized too, it doesn't surprise me that you can actually digest it, because when you pasteurize it, you pasteurize out the lactase enzyme. So that's the enzyme that breaks down lactose. So those two together in raw milk, you can actually digest it, or at least like that's most people's case.
Why do you guys think raw milk has been demonized and just like that entire industry.
We wrote about this a lot early on in our kind of like health, getting into the health sphere. And it's like right around the 1900s, the US was going through this really like interesting phase where these cities were booming. Urbanization was becoming this massive trend. So everyone was moving away from farmland and into the cities. They were becoming dense. And so we needed to figure out the food part of the equation because refrigeration like wasn't really a thing at the time. So you still needed some level of freshness for people to like be able to actually eat the food before it went bad. So the solve was milk was still just a very high percentage of people's diets. So they moved cattle closer to the cities, or kept cattle closer to the cities in the back of bars and breweries. So they would basically just keep these cattle not moving at all. They'd be in like a room like this. There'd be like 10 cattle in a room like this, not moving at all their entire life for like,
that's so sad.
Yeah, 3 years. And they're just fed this waste. And cattle are supposed to be eating grass. They're supposed to be moving, happy cows, good milk. If they're just sitting in a room like this, they're going to produce what ended up being called swill milk, which is like this, it was purple. They used to, in order to get people to actually drink it, they would dye it with like chalk, plaster of Paris, do all sorts of things just to make it so that people would drink it. Lo and behold, people got really sick from drinking it. And so that's when people started thinking, all right, like which direction do we take this? Do we standardize this entire process and try to like make it so that we increase the standards so cows aren't having to live like this? Or do we just pasteurize the milk and like basically just burn out a lot of the nutritional benefits, the enzymes, the healthy bacteria out of the milk? And so that's kind of where it started, was like this health problem where mostly kids were drinking the milk. And so infant mortality was like crazy high.
No, that's heartbreaking.
So that's like where the shift happened, was like, we need to figure out a solve. Let's just pasteurize this milk. And then people just started being like, oh, raw milk is, it just pasteurized milk just became the thing, and it became easier. So it became an industry. And then
more like, do you think it's money driven as well?
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, especially with some of these like plant-based milk companies too. I think that there's a set of companies that really view food almost like technology or things that they're trying to patent as well. And I think one of the things that we've learned is that, maybe you don't need to look at food through the lens of technology. Maybe we actually cracked the code a couple hundred years ago, and we actually, like, the secret to the future is actually just returning to the past as well. But I mean, in any situation, if you have 40,000 products at the grocery store and most of those products are controlled by about 10 companies that are all publicly traded, it's like their responsibility is to deliver a profit to their shareholders. So they are going to cut corners and do things like that to, make the most money. And we can debate the pros and cons of that system, but it's like, it just kind of is what it is for the most part.
What about vegans? What are your thoughts on vegans?
We have a lot of thoughts.
Such a generic question, but you know what I mean?
I mean, it's tough because I do think a lot of vegans and people that are going plant-based, their hearts are actually in the right place too. Like we feel the same way. No one wants to actually see like a beautiful animal actually die. It's terrible. But I think the issue with a lot of people that are plant-based, vegan, or just 99% of consumers in general is that 99% of us have never actually gone out and met our local rancher or gone to a farm before. One of the things Harry and I did early on when we first started Meat Mafia and started writing and podcasting, and we wanted to just immerse ourselves in the space, is we just said to ourselves, we need to go out and meet the people that are actually growing our food and making milk and things that we're enjoying. And I think once you go out and meet the ranchers and see the way that the animals are actually being treated, and you learn about the way that the soil and the grass and all these different plants and species are being regenerated and being brought back, you realize how much these farmers and ranchers care about the animals, and they also care about you as the consumer as well too. And so I think we view eating meat really as like this amoral thing where no one wants to see an animal die, but I think there's ways to purchase your food from people that are going to take the best possible care of that animal. And ultimately you're going to be able to nourish yourself with the right nutrients, because we've had one of the common themes with our shows. We've had so many people that were plant-based, particularly women, that were losing their hair. They had lost their periods, their hormones were shot to hell. and they were trying to do the right thing. Their body was just legitimately malfunctioning as a result of not having these like crucial nutrients that are only coming from meat. And they start incorporating animal products again, and their hair starts getting really thick. Their skin is amazing. They're getting their period back. They're able to actually conceive and give birth, like these life-changing things that are actually happening. And I'm sure you've encountered it too. But we've just seen so many stories about that. So it's tough because a lot of these people that are vegan, they're trying to do the right thing. I think it's just wrong practices to get there.
Like I was out on my buddy's ranch, or he's a land manager out here in Dripping Springs. He has this saying, one bad day, where he has sheep out there that live the best life possible, and then they have one bad day. Yeah. And I think like from a humanitarian standpoint, it's like I understand the vegan argument too. Like I think if we could all live without harming any other life, like for sure. But there's, I think, the humanitarian argument, the argument about around the planet, and then the nutritional argument, which vegans kind of like set up camp around, where it's like veganism is better than meat from a nutritional standpoint. Well, I don't think that's true, because a lot of the nutrients, you're missing a lot of like critical nutrients in a vegan diet. And then I think from like a land regeneration standpoint, you can't do that without cattle, without ruminant animals working on the soil. So like there's a huge argument there to be made. And I think the humanitarian one is I think the most difficult one to really connect with, because it is, I think it's a really challenging thing for most people to deal with. But I think when you think about it through that lens of one bad day, these animals are living the best life possible, and then they are continuing forward like this abundant life that we get to benefit from.
What like types of meats, what cuts, like what has the most nutrients that we should be prioritizing?
From a nutrient density standpoint, like if you look at a graph, a lot of the organ meats have the most nutrient density because they're relatively small, but they really like pack a punch. Like beef liver has a ton, but I don't think you need to eat a ton of that to get all the benefits. And I think for the most part, people should just prioritize like grass-fed beef if they can. I think eggs is an incredible source of all the different micronutrients. I think dairy, as we've talked about, has great enzymes. It's rich in calcium. I don't know. I think mostly like if the animal is eating what it's supposed to, like you're going to be getting all the different micronutrients that come up from the soil.
We were big red meat eaters because like when you look at the graphs of like creatine and all these different nutrients you could be extracting, minerals that you could be extracting from your food, it's pretty high off the charts. We also like love red meat. It's one of those things where there's so many different types of cuts and different types of dishes that you can make too. But then also like the bioavailability of meat is pretty incredible. Like, and that was when I was going through my healing journey, I didn't know what bioavailability meant and why that's so important. Like your ability to actually like digest, absorb, and process the food that you're eating. And so when you look at a lot of animal products on a graph in regards to bioavailability versus plant-based sources, it's like off the charts higher. So a lot of things, like a lot of these vegan arguments, you'll see these charts where it's comparing like green leafy vegetables versus meat and why the nutrients are way higher. But it's kind of irrelevant because the bioavailability is actually a lot lower. So like you might be getting a certain amount of vitamin from that spinach, but if you're not able to digest it and absorb it, that the number, the amount of that nutrient's actually a little bit irrelevant too. And I'm not trying to compare animal foods versus vegetables, but like that's a lot of the arguments that you see against meat, but just the bioavailability. That's why carnivore works so well, because it's so digestible and so absorbable. You can just eat animal products and you can honestly feel really good and flourish off of it.
So to your point, when I think of just like going full blown carnivore, I'm like, what about the vegetables and like the fiber and like antioxidants that you'll find, right, in a lot of these fruits and vegetables? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I feel like fiber is one of those things that's like extreme. It's like a very contentious topic as well too. When I was just eating animal products, like my digestion felt incredible. My inflammation went away. And then I'm also at a point now where it's like I eat vegetables almost every single day at this point. I eat starchy carbohydrates. I eat a lot of animal protein. I eat fruits. Like I'm getting a decent amount of fiber in now, and I feel great when I consume it. So I've almost done both.
Sure.
And I feel like just the common denominator for me has always just been like eliminating processed foods out of my diet and just eating single ingredient real food sources. And I don't mean to make it so basic, but I've literally done no fiber and good, like a lot of fiber, and I feel good doing both.
It can be that simple, and that's okay.
Harry and I have always taken the informed consumer approach. And for someone like listening to this podcast, like if you want to know like every single type of like vitamin and nutrient, like you should probably listen to like Dr. Paul Saladino. Or if you want to know the pros and cons of fiber, there's people like, I'm almost like the simpleton where I've just absorbed all of this information and I've just experimented a lot. I'm like, hey, this works really well for Brett. This actually does not work well for me. And I've like when I was healing, I literally kept a food journal. I was like, all right, these foods, I feel great. These foods, I feel lethargic and I have to go to the bathroom after I eat them. And then I figured out the playbook of what worked for me. And then I kind of fell in love with that healing journey. And like every little day, just seeing those marginal gains towards healing. And then I'm at the point where I'm at now. And I think it's like, how do you develop your own process and, absorb the information that's out there, just simplify it and just get in the game, honestly.
One of my favorite podcast conversations that we've done, like we've done over 400 podcasts, was with a guy named Bill Schindler. And so he talks about preparation being the poison. And like, if you can prepare your foods in a way, like I think the carnivores conversation around fiber is super interesting, but it's like at the end of the day, they're talking about, anti-nutrients causing certain like effects within the body. So like there's nutrients in plants that are defense chemicals that are meant to essentially protect the plant from being eaten. And so if you cook it the right way, you don't really have as many problems. And so I think from that standpoint, it's like you don't necessarily need to have an aversion to fiber, which is what Brett's saying through his own experience, where it's like if you prepare it the right way and eat mostly like either cooked veggies or you just know you're fermenting vegetables or whatever the preparation is that helps break down some of those anti-nutrients, like you can actually eat that stuff and not feel any of the negative side effects of it.
I feel like, vegetables and fiber is like a tricky one for sure.
How do you keep it simple with just all the information that's out there? I feel like especially for women, I feel like they're like, do I eat a lot of protein? Do I not eat a lot of protein? Fat, no fat? Like, how do you keep it simple?
Yeah, so, I'm a macro coach too. And so I am a big believer if you're starting out, just track your protein. I think for a woman, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a really great spot to hit. You could even go to like 0.8 to 1 gram. But I think that's a great goal. I think when it comes to carbs and fats, I know that my body responds better to higher fat, lower carb. I've always been that way. Now, when I'm training, it's a little bit of a different story. I do like to increase my carbs and kind of nutrient time. That's like getting very specific. But I think that if it's a woman starting out, protein's the biggest thing. And then I always say like experiment, like go for a week more higher carb, see how your body responds, go higher fat the next, kind of switch it up and see what your body responds to the best. I think we're all bio-individual in that sense. We all respond differently. A lot of the times my plates are just like 3 food groups, super simple. And it's the easiest to meal prep too. Like I'm a big believer in meal prep, especially when I look at my community, these moms that have like kids and trying to run a business and like all the things, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So meal prep's key and it doesn't have to be complicated. So that's why I think when you can simplify the food, it's more of a sustainable lifestyle.
Spending so much mental energy on food is so exhausting.
It is. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I would love to touch on like allergies. So have you guys heard of alpha-gal?
Mm-mm.
I had alpha-gal.
Really?
So basically it's when a tick has previously bit a deer or another type of mammal that has like hoof, and they bite a human, and there's some type of like something in the blood that gets transferred over into your body. Basically it causes an allergic reaction to red meat.
Wow.
Any animal with hoofs.
I thought that was just something on the internet. I didn't think that was real.
No, I had it.
It's real.
And I had blood work and everything. Yeah. So basically a few years ago, I was having a lot of like stomach pain. I would like break out in hives. I would eat a meal and then notice I would look 8 months pregnant. Got blood work done. And I actually went to an integrative doctor at the time who had kind of worked with other patients that had alpha-gal. And it's pretty prevalent in Tennessee just with all the deer. So she did my blood work and she was like, you have alpha-gal. I'm like, what is that? She's like, basically it's when you have an allergy to red meat from a tick bite. Wild, I did a lot of research on it, and I had to stay away from red meat and anything with hook. So bacon, pork, like lamb. So I really only ate chicken and fish. All of my symptoms went away, which is great. But at the same time, I was like, well, I don't want to live like this forever. I actually did some acupuncture to help cure it.
Really?
Yeah. And
so are you all good now?
I'm all good now.
That's
so I did some
incredible.
acupuncture. I slowly added it back in. Red meat is something I can't eat every single day because I still have a sensitivity to it. Like my levels are still a little bit high, but I can definitely eat it and incorporate it a few times a week without any issue. But it was a wild ride.
How long was that journey?
2 years.
I've never met anyone that's experienced that. You're the first person that we've ever met in person.
Not ideal. I'm here to tell you, alpha gal is real. You guys are obviously such big proponents on like choosing a healthy lifestyle through nutrition. So how do you navigate that with supplements when you like do your blood work and see where you might be deficient? Do you go to food first? Are you okay with adding in supplements? What does that look like for each of you?
Like after doing 400 episodes of the podcast, I think when I started, I was pretty dogmatic about like, you don't need supplements. You can just eat real food for everything. And I think the more that I've just kind of learned about how our environment has shifted over time and a lot of like just the mineral depletion in our soils, I think that helped me open my mind up to understand that like no, supplementation is actually a good thing. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't need to be this like ancestral approach versus like the Brian Johnson blueprint in the future, trying to live forever. There can be this kind of incredible blend of like the past and the future as well. Like we do have incredible food technology and supplements that exist that can extract these things. And then you can also like be trying to incorporate really nutrient dense foods as well too. So I feel like there's a good blend, and I feel like I just try and cycle everything, to be honest with you. I think our protein powder is the one thing that we naturally keep in a lot, but like I love base supplements, pine pollen, and they make Butea superba and Shilajit. When I do have mini flare-ups for my stomach, there's a brand, this company called Ching Dai makes this indigo supplement that always helps put my stomach into remission.
Interesting.
And BPC 157 for my stomach as well, the oral version of it. It works. It's like a miracle worker for your gut too. So just like, I don't know, just constantly tinkering and experimenting. And
finding what works for you.
Definitely. Like I was in a bad flare-up a couple years ago, and I had a doctor that was like, I really think that you should experiment with indigo and you should take it with BPC 157. And for whatever, I was open to it because I just was like, for whatever reason, I could not get out of this flare up. And if I had stayed dogmatic, it was like, no, I'm just going to just do bone broth and steak or whatever. I don't, it definitely helped with my recovery for sure. And I think I threw some beef gelatin capsules in there too. So I think there's a ton of efficacy for certain types of supplementation. And I like to cycle everything too and not take anything too long.
Right. Yeah. That's a big one. I'm the same way. What about you?
Yeah, I fall in the same camp where it's like, I try not to live my life in a test tube where I'm like, fixated on having 100 supplements that I'm taking 100% of the time. But I love cycling different supplements. I like trying the ones that I feel like really do give me some added benefits. Like Brett mentioned, base supplements. Our protein powder is like probably one of the only things that I eat on a consistent basis, just because it has an organ complex in there, collagen and colostrum. So it really hits like a number of different micronutrients as well. I'm open to supplementation for the same reasons Brett is, where it's like, we know that our soils are depleted, that we do need some of these extra minerals from supplementation, and that's fine. But focus on real food first. Like if you can make the real food changes, make the real food changes. And some of that can just be as simple as incorporating one food like type of food back into your diet, and boom, like, you fix that depletion in a few months.
Let's talk sheets. I used to think sheets were pretty much the same until I came across Cozy Earth. And when I tell you Cozy Earth sheets have been a game changer, I mean it. I used to toss and turn all night, waking up sweaty and uncomfortable, especially after long days in the heat or late night workouts. They're made from viscose from bamboo, and they help regulate your temperature, which means no more overheating in the middle of the night. I'm sleeping noticeably cooler and deeper, and both Ian and I cannot get over how good these sheets are. Listen, I'm all about products that actually do what they say, and these absolutely do. And here's a fun sleep fact for my fellow wellness nerds. Sleeping in a cooler environment actually helps your body release more melatonin, so you fall asleep faster and wake up feeling better. These sheets are basically helping me hack my own recovery. Cozy Earth even offers a 100-night sleep trial so you can try them during the hottest nights of the year. And if you don't love them, but seriously, you will, just trust me, you can send them back. Plus, they're backed by a 10-year warranty. So if you're ready to upgrade your sleep and your summer, head to cozyearth.com and use code SAMCFIT for 40% off their best-selling temperature-regulating sheets and more. Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, and stay cozy. You guys have definitely seen this on my stories by now, my morning protein cold foam or iced protein coffee. It's my little wellness ritual that I genuinely look forward to every single day. And especially as a busy mom, trying to get some protein in first thing in the morning is so important. And one ingredient I never skip is the honey. But not just any honey, I've officially converted to Monokura. I used to throw whatever honey I had into my coffee, dressings, baked goods until I tried Monokura, and I swear it puts all the other honeys to shame. It's this rich, creamy, melt-in-your-mouth Manuka honey that's actually good for you, supporting gut health, immunity, and energy with powerful bioactives and antioxidants straight from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand. And the best part, it tastes unreal. Seriously, this is the honey with superpowers. Just 1 heaping teaspoon a day gives you all the benefits, and I love mixing mine into my homemade protein creamer. This stuff is a dream, and it's worked its way into pretty much any recipe possible of mine. This isn't your average store honey. It's ethically produced, third-party tested for MGO. That's to compound with all the good antibacterial stuff, and you can actually scan the QR code on your jar to see your batch's results. I love that transparency, and my body loves the benefits. So if you've been looking for a simple, delicious, nutrient-packed addition to your wellness routine, this is it. And now it's easier than ever to try Monokura honey. Head to monokura.com/SamCFit to save up to 31%, plus get $25 worth of free gifts with the starter kit. That includes their MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's monokura.com/SamCFit to save 31% and get your bonus gifts. Trust me, 1 spoonful and you'll get it. Do you guys do protein powder every day?
Pretty much every single day.
Yeah,
I take like 4 scoops a day.
Wait, how many grams of protein is that?
21 grams a scoop.
44.
So
What?
yeah, a good amount.
Okay, how much protein are you getting in a day?
I'm trying to get 200 grams.
Oh, okay, great.
I actually have a macro story I think you'll love too.
Oh, share it.
So
Let's go.
So I got married 3 weeks ago, June 21st.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
and
awesome.
It was cool because I was about a month out from the wedding. And I'm like, I don't feel, it's funny because I'm in the health and wellness business, but I don't feel as healthy as I should feel.
Right.
And so I started working with this coach in New York. His name's Tommy Pomatico, and he's a big macro guy. So he got my macros dialed in, and a lot of it was like eating kind of like the same 3 to 4 meals a day.
Yeah. It's boring when you're really in it.
It was boring. Like it was like a protein, it was like protein shake, good quality chicken breast, vegetables, and rice. Simple. For lunch and dinner, and then like a Greek yogurt bowl with protein and some frozen fruit in it. And I'd never really done the low fat calorie counting macros. And it was an awesome test of just like experimentation, monotony, and lo and behold, and then he would program my workouts too.
You're right.
And just kind of like falling in love with that process and that consistency. And even like just a month of doing that, like day 1 to day 30, it was night and day different.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I don't know, when you were talking about supplementation and experimentation, like that stuff is amazing. But I even think just doing that experiment of, you know, good quality foods, working with a coach, understanding calories in, calories out, and having someone to program your workouts and just like training hard and like giving your best to that workout. You do that for a month and you actually can transform.
And I think the biggest part is consistency with
Absolutely.
all of that. Like you have to be consistent. And it's like, there's no magic pill. There's no like blueprint of like, this is what works for everyone. And that's why like a lot of the times with my clients, it's like the first few weeks, we're just like figuring it out together. Like I had them track their macros without me giving them anything for a week just to see where they're at. A lot of the times they're protein deficient. We look at what they're eating, cut out processed foods, replace with just whole foods, keep it simple on that point. Program them a program that's built in progressive overload. And, you know, that might take some tweaking to figure out what exercises they like, what they don't like. Now, from like an internal health aspect, like a lot of the times I feel like whole foods and cutting out the processed foods helps so much when it comes to energy level and just like all the things, making sure they're hitting their protein. Like that's a big thing with energy. But like after a month, if clients don't feel ideal still, that's when I usually bring in like blood work. I'm like, let's get some blood work just to kind of see. Or if like starting off the bat, if it's like brutal, I'm like, we should probably go ahead and get some blood work to start off. Usually about the time once we figure things out and they're consistent for a month, it's like night and day. Because a lot of it's inflammation. So when you do all these things and you cut it out, you're like, holy cow.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Definitely.
But that's so cool.
Yeah,
so did you feel like great on your wedding day?
I felt, it felt great. And it's just like, just the ability of the feeling of, hey, I don't feel great right now.
Right.
And then you just you feel a little robotic and monotonous, right? I've never like put all my calories into an app before, like logging every single rep in the gym, but it's similar to like wearing a smartwatch. It's like you're doing it for a period of time, you're getting the data. And if you do it, I did it for 30 days and I felt amazing. And finding a good coach that's actually accountable too,
for sure.
That's like monitoring your stuff. It's a blend of the accountability, and then you're actually like figuring out how you should be eating and how you should be training. And then it just becomes a lifestyle.
I would love to ask you guys, what are some like non-negotiables when it comes to ingredients and foods that you stay away from?
I try to like fully avoid seed oils if possible. If it's like, out at dinner and you're at a restaurant where they're cooking in seed oils, I'm not gonna like, make it the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But at the end of the day, like if I can avoid them 100%, I'm going to. I think like oils are just an area where you talked about inflammation. I just think that there's such a source of inflammation that if I can avoid them, I just feel way better when I'm not consuming those things. And basically every packaged good that people walk past in the grocery store today. Now there's like a whole movement away from this, but like there's a lot of seed oils and a lot of packaged foods. So if you just start by eliminating packaged foods, you're good.
Yeah.
Seed oils are probably my number one. And like I think for the most part, like so much stuff is taken off the table when I'm like during the week, 90% of my focus is just eating real foods, real whole foods. I'm like, all right, I don't even need to think about what my do's and don'ts are. Like I just eat those things. And, seed oils can creep into those things just based on the preparation. So yeah, I think that's one that I try to be mindful about.
Are you weird about seed oils?
I think I'm the same way. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this too, where like one of the things I was going to say to you is like, oh, I'm trying to stay away from sucralose. But for a good example is like, if I know I'm going to go to the gym and hit a hard workout and I don't have like a good quality pre-workout, like ProMix, I love their pre-workout. There are some times where I'm going to like crack a Celsius in the morning and drink that.
Yes.
So it's disingenuous for me. Like, it's almost like I try and earn, or like Harry was talking about the Fairlife every once in a while, if I'm out and about, I'm like, all right, I cranked a workout. I need protein. It's like earning some of those products that can help you achieve that goal, yet they might not be the most ingredient friendly thing, like kind of just working those things in and earning that.
I'm literally on the same page. And a few years ago, I used to be like, no, anti everything. Like I was very gung ho. I think it was just because I was so hyped up with what I was learning in nutrition school, and I went to more holistic school. And so, but now I'm like, okay, balance is so important. Like we have one life to live. And it's like the majority of the time, if you're fueling intentionally, like those moments where you do grab the Celsius or you do grab a protein bar that maybe has some gums in it or sucralose or whatever, like it's not going to kill you. At the end of the day, if that's all you have and it's going to help you get to your goals and you're going to feel good, like it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like most people are battling the consistency battle. So if you have a product that you love that is like healthy for you, it has 21 grams of protein, or like it's just something that can get you from point like 0 to 1 and get you moving. Like that's, I think most of my story around just like momentum, there was always like a product or a thing that like bridged the gaps for me. And I think that's really like important to realize, like most people are kind of just trying to get those first steps going. If you're trying to optimize, 100% like eat the real foods, cut out like all the little things. But I think obsessing over it too, it definitely can start to like work against you.
Yeah. I think in the age of nuance, a lot of people are stepping over dollar bills to pick up nickels. That's one of the things that Stan Efferding talks a lot about. And Austin is like the epicenter of this kind of like animal-based movement. And I see a lot of people at the gym that will talk about, hey, I'm cutting out seed oils and I'm eating all this steak and fruit and honey. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself like, but you don't look metabolically healthy. And I think you're so focused on like tinkering with ingredients and cutting these things out, but like you're not walking 10 to 12,000 steps a day. You're not lifting heavy weights. Like for me, my non-negotiables are like lift heavy weights, try and walk at least 10,000 steps a day, get sunlight in, prioritize protein, sleep 6 to 8 hours a night. And if I do those things over a long-term period of time, I'm probably going to feel really good.
My non-negotiables are more on like the do side of things, where it's like, go take the walk, go get sunlight, like try to make sure that those things are incorporated in my day. Because if I'm doing those things, like chances are like I just feel way better. I'm making way better choices around food. I'm just at peace with just, if I do go out and eat a meal that's not like perfect for me and fit everything, like I'm going to have the energy the next day to go hit a workout. So yeah, I think it's more so like not putting as much pressure on like, oh my gosh, I'm scared of everything, and just continuing to pour into the right things.
It's all about balance.
This whole space is so fascinating. And once you start to feel really good and you start doing your own education, you're listening to podcasts and you're at school learning about all these things, it's almost like you have to swing all the way to like this one end of the pendulum just to gradually like loosen up the reins a little bit over time.
Absolutely.
But it's like this incredible journey where you know so much, and now you know what works best for you and your kids, and like you're actually enjoying life. Like on Sunday, I had a pizza and I enjoyed every single bite of it. I didn't feel guilty.
I had pizza on Sunday too.
There you go. That's a sign. Where 5 years ago I
used to pack my own dressing to go out. Like I was.
That's how you know.
No, my friends know. Like
you were in it.
I would pack my own dressing. I was like the most annoying to order. And every once in a while I still will be like, hey, can you replace use butter instead of seed oils?
Absolutely.
But like if it's a whole thing and I'm like, just don't worry about it. Having kids and like a family really helped me because I realized how precious life is and how short these moments are. And it's like going out, I'm thinking like my beach trip where we go and get ice cream, like past me would have not gotten the ice cream because I don't know where it's sourced and the cane sugar and all of that. But now I'm like, I want to get ice cream with my kids. Like that's okay to do that too.
Yes. I remember hearing a clip and Paul Saldino's taught so many people about nutrition. I remember him saying that he's never going to eat a Christmas cookie ever again or a cookie ever again.
What?
And I'm like, I have a lot of respect if that's how you want to live your life. Like for me, I'm from New Jersey. I have an Italian mom. She makes unbelievable Christmas cookies, home cooked meals, pasta. If I was to tell her that, like that's just not how I want to live my life. So I think it's just, what kind of life do you want to live? What are the end goals for you? And I don't know, I think, and just navigate that way.
And when I think about my community specifically and the listeners that are tuning in right now, I think that they would probably say the same thing and align with that like 80-20 balanced lifestyle. I'm more so like 90-10.
Yes.
But like that's a very aggressive statement to be like, I'm never doing this forever again, And it's like for the people that are intentional in that sense, like good for them, but that's a hard one for me.
I love the idea of just building up, like investing so heavily into that 90, like being so good at that 90 that the 10 can just chill.
Yeah.
You've built up some margin in the way that you live your life.
Absolutely. Because it's like that 90, it's like you're fueling yourself and you feel good from it. But like, for me, that 10 is I like my Botox and I like my Chick-fil-A.
Guess what? We all have that. We all have that 10.
It might look different for everyone.
Everyone's got that 10.
Yes. And I used to, I think so starting out my social in that world, like I used to be so like hesitant to like share that, but it's like, I have to.
Yes.
Because it's like, we're all like that. That's okay.
Yes.
So for the listener that's tuning in, whether they're like a young woman in a busy career or a mom who has kids, and they're wanting to take that next step and kind of take ownership. And I love what you said earlier, like be their own CEO of their body. Like what's some simple things that they can do starting today to better their health?
Honestly, just starting by getting more steps in. And so I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. And being able to take like a 10 to 15, 20 minute walk after every single meal is such an easy way to just stack those steps in.
We are the same person.
Really?
I say that. I'm like, go walk after you eat, guys. How many steps a day do you aim for?
I try to get at least 10,000 steps in every single day. And I think the 3 meals, stacking those after is like a great way to hit that goal. Yep. And then, sometimes I'll decide like, hey, I haven't called my grandparents in a long time. So I'll call my grandparents or my parents. Sometimes I'll literally leave my phone behind and just like actually think and take in the outside.
Habit stack is awesome.
Habit stack. And then, if you're like a busy mom, you're like, oh, this feels good. I'm, walking 10,000 steps a day. That's maybe an additional 500, 600 calories burned.
Yep.
That alone, you'll start to feel really good. And then maybe the next thing after that is like strength training. But I literally think just starting by walking outside, particularly after you eat those meals, it's going to help you with digestion. I know it sounds so basic, but do that for 90 days and see what happens.
It's doing so much too, like your metabolic system, your lymphatic system, which is going to help your body perform and work better.
It's also so meditative too. Like I think when you start moving your body more at like that really low state, your mind is just like freed up to like start processing a lot of the things that are kind of just like sitting there, but not getting like the attention that it needs. Like, you know, you've thought about something and then you kind of forgot about it. And then you start walking, you're like, oh man, I really needed to give that more thought, but I just, you know, logged it away somewhere. So I think like, I feel like movement is just, it is medicine.
I agree.
At the end of the day.
I come up with my best ideas, like business brand wise, when I go on runs, and I can just think, and like I come back and I'm like, pull out my notepad and just like write all these things down. Cause it's like, it gives your mind a moment to just like connect with yourself. Which life's so fast paced these days, from work, kids, technology. I mean, think about how many times we just pull out our phone without thinking and go on it. It's like, just have stillness is so important.
Yeah.
Do you run without your phone?
No, I run with my phone because I like to listen
to music and
I listen to
stuff,
music or podcasts. Like the people that run without music, I'm like, you guys are built different. I wish I was like that. Can you guys do that?
I have before.
Okay.
I go through phases. Like right now I'm in a phase where, similar to you, I've just been spending a lot of time researching dopamine in general. And I've never read Cal Newport's book, Deep Work. It's been around for 12 years, I think. And I had a friend that recommended it. And just the ability to like just put away all these things that you're consuming, all these inputs, and actually just focus on the stuff that you want to do. Or it might even be like this meditative time running to get these business insights. Like that in today's world in 2025 is a superpower. So I've been actually spending a lot of time like getting off of my phone and just focusing on tasks that are high signal to what Harry and I are trying to do, like for business, for life, because I was just realizing all I'm doing is just consuming 24/7. And so I'm not doing the things that I want to be doing on a daily basis because I'm just getting this constant dopamine hit that I should be getting, you know, being outside or exercising or like sitting down and writing a blog post for our business. I'm kind of losing that ability to focus because I'm just stimulated 24/7. So that's been a big thing the last couple of weeks for me right now, is like rewiring and repairing my dopamine.
I'll have to read that book because I feel like I might need to get Deep Work. We'll put that in the show notes.
My one hack would be just learn a recipe for yourself and like something that you like to cook, and just like learn one healthy recipe a week for a month. You have 4 in your arsenal, and then you can just like fall back on those as you continue throughout your multiple year-long health journey, as you start to just like lean in and get better at it. Like having 4 meals in your back pocket that you like to cook.
I love that.
Are healthy.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys up for a fun like rapid fire question game?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Y'all get ready.
Okay.
We might hit some controversial topics. Should women eat as much red meat as men?
Yes.
Why?
I think in proportion, you should be trying to get a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, whether you're a male or a female.
Artificial sweeteners, are they harmless?
I don't think they're harmless. I think that over time they can definitely do damage on the gut.
Yeah. Moderation.
In moderation.
Yeah, moderation for sure.
Superfoods, thoughts?
Bone marrow.
Ooh, I've never had bone marrow.
Are you serious? There's some great spots in Austin.
I'll be honest. I've been like a little nervous. I've never had liver either. I've had like capsules, but I've never done like actual liver.
It's definitely an extreme, I think, but I think there's noticeable benefits.
Vinegar?
Love it.
Throw a little balsamic vinegar, smoked sea salt, chop it into a small piece raw, and just shoot it. It's good.
Raw?
It's like tartare almost. Yeah.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna send you a video.
But like you're saying, like these trendy superfoods like kale and quinoa, I think it's bullshit, honestly.
Yeah, and like okay. Hey, no, you heard it. Let's go. All right, counting macros, overrated or underrated?
I think it's underrated.
It's macro season.
Macros, summer shred.
Calories in, calories out.
Right.
Like thermodynamics matter. Like if you're, you can drink all the raw milk and meat and fruit, but if you're eating too much food and you're not burning enough calories, like you are going to put on weight.
Absolutely. When you have more protein or more muscle mass too, you actually burn more calories at resting. Right. So there's so much to it.
Win the macro game.
Gluten-free versus non-gluten-free.
I eat sourdough bread, but I think it's legit. I think that like the processing of grain in the US is like affects a lot of people. Most people are dealing with like this synthetic grain that disrupts their gut. So I think it's real.
In school, we learned that everyone has a sensitivity to gluten. Just some have it greater than others to where they actually feel and see the symptoms.
That's crazy.
Right.
Gluten-free bread sucks though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it tastes like cardboard. But
yeah, not ideal, right?
Sourdough.
Intermittent fasting.
I used to do it a lot. I actually feel better when I break my fat. I have some type of a breakfast in the morning. A lot of times I'll just do 2 scoops of our protein powder with ice water and frozen fruit.
Yes.
And then I go to the gym. I feel a lot better.
Just a little
that.
something.
Yes.
I tell my clients that too. I'm like, you could literally take a bite of banana. Like it doesn't have to be a lot, but sometimes your body just needs a little something to help balance those cortisol levels.
I like prolonged fasting. for more like the spiritual side of things. And like,
how long do you go?
I'll do like a few days.
He does long fasts.
What?
Like 2-3 days.
Wait, we need to pause the rapid fire game because I need to know. Okay, so you'll
I
go
just
for
wrapped
how
up
long?
I just wrapped up like a 3-day one.
How do you feel throughout and then like once you end it?
The first day is usually like very much like the challenge. And then once you get through that, I think it becomes a lot easier. Like the second day, like this past one that I did, I was like pretty irritable. So it's like, I think for me though, it's like more on the spiritual side of things where I'm like, I just feel like I learn a lot about my relationships to basically everything. And try to like lean into more scripture during that time period and just like find a little bit more stillness. So it's like much more of like a centering thing for me. Getting back to center.
One food you'd ban if you could.
Seed oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, seed oils.
High fructose corn syrup would be another good.
Oh, that's a good one too. I know. I feel like RFK, we didn't really talk. I think we talked a little bit about before, but like I'm so excited just to see what he's going to do. I mean, what he's already doing.
He was huge for you, right? You were saying
Yeah. So back in like 2020 when COVID hit and like everybody was getting sick and like the vaccines, I was like, there has to be a way that we can approach with like diet and lifestyle to help mitigate the sickness in a sense. And like, that's when honestly, a lot of my passion of what I'm doing now started. But I did so much research from like literature and a lot of it came from him and like just listening to him speak and share his thoughts and like scientific facts that you can't make up.
I think we're just craving a politician that like really practices what they preach and just seeing him, the lifestyle that he embodies, the fact that he's like talked about this movement for a really long time, regardless of what you feel about vaccinations or whatever, just someone that actually wants to clean up the food system and pull a lot of these extra additives out and ingredients, like for the sake of our children's health, like someone that has young kids. It's so encouraging.
For me, it's dyes. Like I'm a big one on dyes. And I think having kids too. And like I have ADHD and I'm pretty sure my oldest has it. He hasn't been diagnosed, but like he's literally me as a child. So I'm like, I feel like I see some of the same stuff. But anytime that I give my kids dyes, like if they go to a birthday party and they have like a cupcake or whatever, like they act so different, like behavioral meltdowns, just like out of control. Like it's pretty crazy. And it's just not healthy. I mean, there's so many other countries that have these dyes banned. I'm like, why are they not banned here? That is a red flag just to begin with.
This has been talked about a lot on like, I think RFK and all, like Cali Means, but it's like, if there's these other standards that are like more scrupulous and like higher in other countries, like why aren't we just like
replicating
following this?
Yeah.
Especially from these big companies' perspective.
Because it makes the food taste better, look better. Yeah. People are going to buy more of it.
It's more Americanized.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's really sad and unfortunate that's the case. But hopefully with RFK getting in there, you can see some changes that are much needed. So, all right. Well, I've just enjoyed this so much. I feel like we talked about so much too.
We really did.
Covered everything. But I really am just happy because I hope that the listeners who are tuning in today just feel more empowered with what they heard. And I think my biggest takeaway is you can start simple.
Oh yeah. And it should be fun too.
And it should be fun.
Yes. Like I feel like one of the things that Harry and I love about fitness and nutrition and health is in a lot of ways, it's like the fairest pursuit ever, where I remember playing baseball and being like, I could work so hard, but there might just be this kid that is just more talented than me, where I feel like fitness is such a fair pursuit where it's like, if you put in the reps and you learn how to eat and train properly and go, walk 10,000 steps a day or whatever those principles are for you, like you're going to see progress in regards to the way you look and more importantly, the way that you feel. And what does that version of you look like that does the right things for a long period of time? Like our business was built on the back of us just like getting into the best shape and health of our lives. And so I think that's what's so encouraging is for the person that's listening to the show. It's like, what if you just started shopping at the outer aisle of the grocery store and eating the right things? And what could you turn into in a year? It could be amazing, like more energy to play with your kids or get a promotion or like whatever that looks like. We're talking about life-changing stuff.
Progress isn't linear in the sense that everyone's journey looks different and where you start out might not be where you end up, but it's like we all like still have work to do. Like I'm still working on myself. I don't have it all figured out. And obviously from this conversation, like I've even taken a step back and been more balanced in a sense. So I think there's some really great takeaways in this conversation. So thank you both for sharing your story. Would love for our listeners to know where they can find more about you guys, your podcast, your supplement company, Noble Protein. So can you share a little bit more about where we can find you?
Yeah, so you can find us on socials. I'm Meat Mafia Harry. We have Meat Mafia Media, which is our Instagram handle. We are on all streaming platforms, so Spotify, YouTube, if you guys want to go follow us there. And yeah, we're posting podcasts every week. So we have one going out a week. We used to do 3 a week, but we've got one going out a week.
You did 3 a week?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Early
That's
on.
a lot of work.
It was
We did
intense.
30, what did we record?
38 podcasts
38
in June.
1 month in 2022.
Stop. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah, we were just getting going. We had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then look at where you guys are at now. I mean, your
Yes.
podcast is incredible. And
Thank you.
Just
Thank
like
you.
you guys by yourself, what you have to offer is so amazing, but like your guests and I've just really enjoyed listening to them.
Thank you.
And then our supplement company, Noble, it's the grass-fed beef protein powder company we were
love
talking
that.
about, just nobleorigins.com. And then we have a chocolate flavor of protein and then a vanilla flavor of protein too. And then I am Meat Mafia Brett on Instagram and Twitter.
And
Awesome.
for Noble, we'll give you guys a promo code too for EMPWR for 20% off. So yeah, if you guys want to use that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'll put
Yeah.
all the details in the show notes too. And to where they can find you and social handles and all of it. So
Awesome.
well, thank you guys for coming on. We'll have to do like a round 2.
Yes, we need to have you on our show
100%.
too. We got to reverse
Yeah.
the mic, so that would be really
I would
fun.
love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. It really helps us grow and bring you more great content. See you guys next week.